Thank you for joining us today for State of the Firearms Industry and Future of Military Tech. It's my pleasure to introduce the very humble, very kind Nate Horvath, CEO of Staccato. As the CEO of Staccato, Nate leads a team of patriots and veterans in building 2011 pistols for a range of shooters, from home defenders to elite law enforcement teams. Under Nate's leadership, the Staccato organization is committed to innovation and continuous improvement and has experienced impressive growth year over year since he took the helm in 2018. Prior to joining Staccato, Nate spent 2 decades working in finance and professional services. Most recently, he served as an operating partner and managing director for 10 years at Westwind Investors, a private investment holding company and the majority owner of Staccato. Previously, he held management roles at Ernst and Arthur Andersen. While a decorated student, Nate has a BS from the University of Illinois at Chicago and an MBA from Stanford University. Nate credits much of his success from starting his career in the U.S. Marine Corps. But of course, if you have questions for Nate or his team, hit up the Q&A section, and his team is on standby to answer your questions. Please join me, get those emojis on the screen, and welcome Nate Horvath. Hello, sir. Great to see you again.
Thanks for the introduction, Catherine, and for the invitation to be part of today's event. I had a minute of technical difficulties, operator error on my part in terms of getting the screen turned on, but I think we've got that squared away. Very impressed with what you and your team are doing at Meritorious, and we're delighted to support your efforts. At Staccato, over 30% of our team members are veterans, and we're always looking to hire more. So I'm excited to be here today to share the Staccato story with you. So with that, I'll dive right in, and then we are also going to be having a networking Q&A table with some of our people operations and some of the veterans who work at Staccato, available for folks who might have Q&A throughout the session today. So let me start with, at Staccato, we are exclusively focused on building pistols, which is something the company has been doing for over 25 years. Staccato began life as STI, a pistol brand that some of you might know, if Staccato didn't ring a bell for you. But STI was dedicated to serving competition shooters. They loved the speed and accuracy of our 2011 platform. The 2011 was a pistol that STI's founders invented and patented. And competition shooters love our pistols because they're really easy to shoot well. So when I joined the company a few years ago, we started thinking about other shooters who could benefit from pistols that are easy to shoot well. And what we realized pretty quickly was that, and no surprise really, every shooter wants to shoot better, more accurately, more easily. So where to start? As we considered that question internally at the company, we unanimously agreed, let's build a pistol for the men and the women who are putting their lives on the line every day. Let's build a duty pistol that retains all the accuracy and shootability of our competition pistols, but let's make it duty ready and reliable. Let's beat the most duty ready pistol that's out there in the market. Once we locked in on this idea, it was a turning point for us strategically. Transformed our operations, how we built products, how we QC'd products, how we marketed products, and what we were trying to do organizationally. When we started focusing on making our guns duty ready, our pistols started being put through some pretty rigorous testing and evaluation by departments all across the country. And they did well. They now being approved by over 325 law enforcement agencies across the country and carried by thousands of officers on duty, including some of the elite teams you might know, like the U.S. Marshals SOG team, LAPD SWAT and their Metro teams, the Texas Rangers here in Texas, and many, many others. And one of the things that means a lot to us and is part of our value system here is that the law enforcement, and we have some military as well that are using our pistols in certain environments, know that we have their back and we always will. At our core, our belief is protecting freedom and celebrating liberty in our country. That's sort of really the why. For those of you who know Simon Sinek, that would be our why as a company. And we're proud to be 100% U.S. made manufacturing, building our products here in the United States using only American steel and parts, something that not everyone can say today, although I think more people wish that they were building in the United States given the supply chain issues that many companies are facing. So that's something that resonates with everybody in our organization and our team. They're truly motivated by our mission, who we serve, what our core values are, and it really resonates, no surprise, with the veteran community. And so that's a community that we actively pursue when we have career opportunities, and we have, I think, a dozen openings presently. And we find that those team members who've served in the military, many of them align very closely with our value system, and they're very engaged with what we're doing. And the result of that is that it helps us build an incredible product. So we've got alignment and purpose and values and work ethic. And as I mentioned earlier, we have over 40 veterans working on our team today. So that's a little bit about Staccato. I know folks may have questions. I think we might be able to take one or two here, up to Catherine on that. And then throughout the balance of the Meritorious event today, we'll have a virtual networking roundtable. Clay Reeves, who is our people operations manager, sort of HR liaison, will be there. And he'll be joined by a variety of different veterans, an 82nd Airborne Army vet who started with us after transitioning out of the Army and now is our director of operations, been with us for about 5 years and now runs and leads about 75 folks in our production area. Jackie Rupert, who's an Air Force vet of 8 years, is a marketing manager with us, has been with the company for a couple of years. And then Sean Armstrong, who's one of our master gunsmiths, who's had a fairly long career in the Army and also was an international police advisor in Iraq and spent 12 years in law enforcement as well, and currently helps on the QC side, product development, and R&D. So that's a little bit about Staccato. Super excited to be here. Catherine, if there are questions or a question you'd like me to field, I'm happy to do so. And if not, we have plenty of time for that in the virtual networking session.
Yeah, we have a couple questions for you. Someone asked, how fluid is the process of seeking contracts with law enforcement?
So great question. It really depends by agency. Some are very lengthy. So I think I'll use the U.S. Marshals as an example. So the U.S. Marshals is a federal agency, and that was probably a 2-year process. I think they started testing our pistols initially in late 2018, and after their process and got vetted, it was over a year before that actual contract got done, and we shipped pistols to them. In other cases, and in fact, in most cases, the approach we take in the law enforcement market is we get our pistols approved for duty use. So they go through their testing, and then the officers are individually purchasing them. So with LAPD as an example, when the SWAT team and the Metro team started to field the guns, LAPD is about a 10,000 officer department. They approved it for the entire department. And so that's not the issued sidearm for LAPD, but it is approved for duty use. And we probably have about 600 to 700 officers who've decided, gosh, I really appreciate the performance that I can get with this pistol. And so they're actually buying the pistols with their own out of pocket and with their own dollars.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. So a round of applause for our wonderful guest, Nate Horvath. We will conclude this portion. And what we'll do is everyone who has direct questions, you can go and meet his wonderful team. They are so gracious and humble and lovely, just like him. I mean, this is just an incredible team. If you haven't shot the Firearms, you got to get out there. Hopefully we see some of his team next week at Veterans Day. And of course, everyone, we're going to have a virtual swag bag that we're going to send out. There will be a link to all the registrants. And in there, there's some goodies, some Staccato, among others. So please be on the lookout for that. So please join me in a round of applause, please, for Nate Horvath. Thank you so much for coming today and just giving your expertise. One last person did ask if you could recall your personal transition, and like how you were able to go from that to leading this organization. Do you have like a one piece of advice for our audience?
Got one piece of advice. That's a big question. So I transitioned out of the Marine Corps in 1992, so a long time ago. So I was back in the first Gulf War, and when I got out of the Marine, I was an enlisted guy. So I came out as an E4, and what I decided when I got out was that if I put into any effort the same effort that I put into serving the country, that I would be successful. And that was the mindset that I took with me when I went to college, when I started working, when I went back to business school. When I look back at all of it, it was really quite easy compared to the efforts and the dedication that I gave 24/7 in the military. And I think every military veteran can appreciate that. And if you take that mindset with you, you are going to be successful.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. All right, everyone, that concludes this session. So please enjoy a couple minutes of virtual networking. We're going to pull you right back in. And then we're going to have our panel defending our constitutional rights to keep and bear arms. Thank you again. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Catherine.